What's up YouTube, this is Jason from Team Night Right, back again with another deck profile. And the deck profile we're going to be doing today, it's one of the classics, so the OG Dragon decks. And of course we're talking about Overlord. So Overlord has come back and set True a Brush of Legend as I believe it's an intruder card. I keep always forgetting what it is exactly. But we got him back again. This time with a new ferocious new ability to help with Overdress. So before we do start the deck profile, I wanted to ask you guys if you could take that time to hit that subscribe button, like and comment down below, and follow us on Twitter at Team Night Ride on Twitter. And also I will be putting the picture of the deck on Twitter. If you have any comments from there, you can always go there and comment down or comment down on the channel. So let's get on to the deck profile. So the first one we're going to be talking is of course the ride line for Overlord. So Overlord got pretty much his old cards back again, if you could say that. It got the grade 1 back, it got the grade 0, the grade 2 Nahalem, which was classic as a vanilla card in OG Vanguard when Vanguard first started. And then it got some effects as the game progressed. So the first one we're going to talk about again is going to be the starter. The starter is pretty much a generic starter. It pretty much have, if you go second, you get to draw a card. Pretty much nothing else to it. And then when you ride up to the grade 1, this grade 1 is pretty much Baja. Oh, sorry if I'm still butchering the name. I was for some reason doing that. So what it does is when it gets rated up by Nahalem, you can counterblast 1 and search your deck for a grade 1 and reveal it and put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. So pretty much this is like a toolbox card. It lets you search for any grade 1 in your deck. So you can just you'll see the grade 1s I have in the deck in a moment. Pretty much it lets you get any card that you're missing, any pieces that you're missing back into your hand, so you can start out your turn. Alright, and the second card which is the grade 2, we're going to the grade 2 now, and this is Nahalem. This is pretty much like the old Nahalem. If those who have started playing Vanguard before remember what he looks like, it's almost the same art, but a little bit more with the new borders from a Brush of Legend. It kind of look even cooler with the hollow. The SP would look better too, but you know, still haven't got that yet. So for those who don't know what his ability does, is when this unit is rolled upon by Overlord, so pretty much you have to ride with the Overlord, which is riding up on the ride line, you get to call it to rear guard. So pretty much it gives you, when you get rated up by Overlord, you get to call it to rear guard, and it becomes like a unit on board. So pretty much without using anything in your hand, you already got a +1 card on board already that can attack. And then the second ability is once per turn. This is act ability. If you have a Vanguard with Overlord in his card name, you can Soul Blast 1. This card and all your Vanguard gets plus 5,000. So pretty much what this does is pretty much it gives himself 5,000 and gives Overlord 5,000. Pretty much bumping out Overlord a little bit so that your opponent gets a little bit of 18k attacker, and it's a little bit of weird guard. Instead of just guarding for 5k, if you just attack, pretty much you have to guard for a little bit more, depending if your Overlord is boosting, just to be able to do, for it to not hit, and hope there's no over trigger with it. And then now we're jumping to the grade 3, and the grade 3 to now is pretty much the old OG Overlord. Look at how crazy this art looks. It looks really amazing, stance and everything. So this one has pretty much 2 abilities. The first one is a continuous ability. During the battle that this unit attacked, a rear guard, your opponent can't call cards from hand to Guardian Circle. So pretty much, if he attacks a rear guard, your opponent can't call any cards from their hand to guard for that rear guard, especially against decks that require they need their front row, or anything on their board that it's pretty much problematic for you. You can automatically snipe at them, and then most of the time they won't be able to guard it because Overlord probably will be a little bigger than this. So the 18k might be a 23k. But even if they try to intercept or anything like that, they still won't be able to guard for that rear guard. So they usually have to let that rear guard die. Unless that rear guard like Overdress, which has already an ability of power already. But most of the time, they'll most likely let it go. So for the secondary ability for Overlord, this is an auto skill. It's once per turn. When this unit attacked hit, you can counterblast 1, discard a card from your hand and stand this unit, and it gets a -1 drive for the rest of the turn. So Overlord got pretty much his rewrite ability. So pretty much with the restanding like you used to. If anybody played Overlord before, you know how Overlord always restood a lot. And this time they reduced the cost a little bit. Instead of discarding 2 cards, you get to discard 1 only and then restand them up. So which is really good because then you're not really losing much, because it would be triple drive, but you still minus 1 card, so you get twin drive still. So it still equals out to a twin drive, but 2 attacks. Alright, so we're jumping on to the next cards. And the next card we're going to be talking about is pretty much this card here. This card, I believe, is only played in Eugene, but I think it's a really good card in this deck because it gives Overlord the ability to get critical. So for those who don't know what his ability does for him right now, is when your Vanguard attacks, if your opponent has 2 or less rear guard, you can put this into Soul, choose one of your Vanguard, gets +1 critical until the end of battle. So pretty much it gives Overlord the ability to get in crit. So after it attacks a rear guard, it gets whatever drive check you hit, you put on Overlord, make him bigger, and then when Overlord attacks again the second time onto their Vanguard, you send this to Soul and give Overlord that critical. So pretty much it's already pressure right there. And depending if you didn't hit a crit already, this could be like 3 damage early game at them, and this forcing a lot of cards out of their hand or PG if they've been holding on to it for the longest. So I think this is a really good card in the deck. And I think it should really be playing on Overlord. Alright. And the next grade 3 we're playing is pretty much Overlord. We got to play 3 more Overlords, so because Persona Ride is still a powerful thing. So you got to always max out Overlord in this deck. So, yeah. And here's a little tech I'm playing in the deck. You might have different builds from there. And this is one of the cards that came in Brush of Legends. So pretty much his ability is, when this unit is placed on rear guard, you can choose one of your opponent's rear guard and you may move it to one of your opponent's front row. So pretty much what it does is simplify it. Pretty much whatever's on their board. So if they know they're facing Overlord, they're gonna try to put everything in the back row, knowing that you can't reach them. This card literally says, no, bring me that card and I'm gonna keep poking at them. So whatever is on the board, wherever they put it, you can, if there's a card that you know that's gonna be annoying for you, you can, they have a front row open and then call anything that turn, just so you don't get that extra swing. You can literally place this on board, target one of their card and bring it to the front row and then proceed to attacking it. So this is a really good card because it does help a lot, especially when you're trying to get the restand of Overlord going on. And then the grade 2s, this is pretty much another grade 2 from the right line. I maxed the Harlem out because I think it's a really good card. Before it was, I don't think, sorry. I think you still should play them. You should max it out in the deck because it's still a good card. It gives Overlord 5k and it gains 5k. So pretty much if you have 2 of them on board, you can literally give Overlord. Overlord can be pretty much in a way Persona Ride without having to Persona Ride. And Overlord can be sitting at 23k already before even Persona Ride. So yeah, 3 of them. And then one of the other cards we got, and I'm still excited about this, is Berserk Dragons back. Berserk Dragon is back, people. So Berserk Dragon in the Brush of Legends has a new, pretty much the same ability that he's used to in the other one, but a little bit different. So his ability is an auto ability. When this unit attacks, if your Vanguard is Overlord, he gets plus 5,000. So it automatically is a 15k attacker. The secondary, the rest of the skill says, then you can counterblast 1 and choose one of your opponent's grade 2 or less and retire it. So pretty much is on board retire if their opponent has something on board you really want to get rid of, but you don't want to burn out resources to do it or attack into it. This card literally says no. That card you have on board, kill it from anywhere on the board. So it's a really good card, and I think it should be played in any deck. And I also you don't really have to activate the whole ability of counterblast retire something. You can always, it gets, just by attacking, gets 5k if you have an Overlord Vanguard. So 15k attacker, still good. And the next, now we're jumping to grade 1. This is pretty much, I think, one of the MVPs of the deck. This is from set 1, and this grade 1 pretty much helps you get your Persona Ride from anywhere in the deck. So I think combined with Overlord, this thing is a little bit busted, because for what it does is pretty much when it attacks and an attack boosted hit, you can automatically counterblast 1, retire this card, and then search your deck for the Persona Ride of your whatever card you're on, which is Overlord. You'll search your deck for Overlord. So it pretty much makes the deck easier to Persona Ride, because by just getting one of them on board and swinging at one of their rear guard. Most of the time they can't guard it. You literally get a persona right there and then without having to do much of any work or have to rely on getting them. So this also could be another card you search out with the grade 1, which is the from the right line if you're missing that. Or you can search for this too and proceed from your turn from there. And then we got the grade 1. I didn't specify everything that the grade 1 does. So the grade 1 has a secondary ability, and this ability is also what makes this card a little shine also for me. It makes your numbers a little bit bigger. This is what he does on the second ability is when your Vanguard attack hits, this is a once per turn effect. This unit gets plus 5,000. So pretty much is a 13k swinger or 13k booster. So most cards right now in the set 1 is only 10k booster. This literally gives you another 13k booster, making Overlord even bigger when it attacks a second time, or making any of your other rear guards a lot bigger when for the next swing. So he has to be also maxed out. But you can always substitute for other cards. There's other cards out there that you could play in set 2. There's a grade 1 that you can play in this deck that you can also use to discard fodder for Overlord and to put into soul so you can build up soul. So it's really up to you what you want to play. If you want to play heavy retire, there's more cards in set 1 and 2 that helps you retire more. And then we got to play 4 PGs in the deck. If you're not playing in PGs, like I said in my first video, for the deck profile, I don't know what you're doing in this game. So this is the best PG we have. If you have 2 or less in hand, you can you don't have to discard when you PG again. So I think this is a really good card they have. And you can also search it with the right line too if you need a PG. So original Vanguard, when you did the skill, you always search for the PG just so you have it in hand early. So you can do that the same way too. And then another card we got in this set also is Overlord got counter chargers. It's pretty much a generic counter charge, but it does leave the field after you hit. So for those who don't know what he does, this is from also Brush of Legend. If your Vanguard attacks hit and if your Vanguard attack this unit boost hit, you can retire this unit and counter charge 1. So pretty much is this literally helps you refund your counter blast. Like if you use a counter blast for say Berserk, you can if your Vanguard attack hits, you can pop this and then counter charge that. So pretty much you didn't use anything. Or you can use it for Overlord skill when he restands up. So really, I think this could be played in any Dragon Empire deck, because even the chicken, which is Nirvana, you can play this into it too because it's a free counter charge. So most of the time, Nirvana don't really care about his back row, so having this in back row to attack with and counter charge is still good. And then now we're gonna be jumping to the trigger. So I'm playing 3 fronts in this deck, only 3, because pretty much because I think 3 is good enough for me. I was playing it at 4, but I think this deck needs a little bit more draw power, so I added some other cards instead to help me build up my hand, because I'm a type of player that likes to play with big hand, pretty much a tempo game. So 3 fronts is still good, so 3 fronts. And then we gotta play that over trigger. I wish this was SP, but whatever. So this is the Dragon Empire over trigger. So pretty much its ability is, everybody should know it by now, when you drive check it, your Vanguard restands, you get to draw a card, and you get to choose one of your units, give it 1 million power. So pretty much this really combos well with Overlord, because when you swing on the rear guard and you hit that over trigger, you really restand Overlord early without having to activate his ability right there and then. Then if you decide to, then you can attack the other rear guard if they have another one, then restand Overlord again, this time with a -1 drive check. You're pretty much plussing 5 cards, not 5, you're plussing 4 cards, because from the twin drive, if you hit a draw trigger, then you're probably plussing 5. So this is really good for Overlord. It really synergizes really well with Overlord. And then we're playing 5 crit. We gotta play 5 crit in this deck because this game we really don't want it to last long. We're trying to push our opponent as fast as possible, because eventually we do run out of steam resources, because there's so much counter charges you could do in the deck. So you want to be able to push grind the game and end the game as quickly as possible. So 5 criticals. And then we're playing 3 draws. 3 draws. I was playing more before, but I almost decked out with this deck when I was playing, testing it, and I dropped the draws down from pretty much 5 to 3 now. Because of the front, I had the front end, so I had to take out one extra one. So 3 draws should be good enough. You're drawing a lot. You're seeing a lot of cards in your deck. You're gonna always get your Persona ride, so it's really not hard to pilot this deck. So, and once the new set comes out, you might get some new cards that you can add to Overlord and make it better. So, yeah. And you're playing 4 heals. 4 heals in the deck. You need to be able to heal in the game. If you're not playing heals, then I think you got some problems. So yeah. So my thoughts of this deck is I enjoy this deck. I really enjoy this deck. It's one of my favorite decks since this game ever started. I've been playing since Vanguard first started, from set 1 BTU 1 till now. So far we got some different. Now we went from normal G, we went to V Premium, we went to Overdress. We went through all these stages, and now we're on Overdress, a new format. So I do like this deck. There are some. If you decide to make any changes, there are some changes you can make in this deck. You can always and I know some people might say this. You can always bump this to 3 if you want to. That's really up to you. If you need to make space, you can always take one of these out. So you really have options here. This deck is not keen on the list. You can always change the list as you go, depending which type of playstyle you like. So, and if you have any comments, if you have any questions, comments down below. What change you think I should be making to this deck to make it better, playable, more playable, competitive. I think it probably is competitive right now because it's not really that expensive deck, because Overlord is like really cheap and all the red lines are rare, so you really can't have that hard. The only thing that's pretty much expensive, most likely, will be in the deck is probably the Over Trigger, and the PGs might be worth something, and then this might be worth something also. But all in all, I don't think the deck is really that expensive to play. And this is the first time that Overlord has been this cheap. If you guys all remember, when Overlord first came out, it always was the expensive card to play, and the deck would range from like $300 to $400 or more, depending how great. Because people were playing Overlord because Overlord was like one of the coolest. Kai was the only one playing it in the deck, so this dude was playing the deck. So he was like the most coolest person ever when I first saw him. So everybody liked that, and everybody kept playing this deck. So I hope you do guys like the deck profile I showed you guys today. If you do like it, once again, hit that subscribe button, like the video. Would greatly appreciate it, just bringing out to more people out there. And then comment down below any questions you have, anything like that. I'll be glad to answer as long as they're positive. And always, thank you again for watching. And this is Jason from Team Night Ride signing out.